Is it right for brands to be using massively overweight models to sell their bigger clothing? I was looking recently on a Jean Provocateur website and just shopping and looking for stuff, and all of a sudden, first of all, it's an absolute disaster. It's a disaster because there's nothing uniform about that about that Instagram site. One image looks like some kind of sex video, a still from a sex video. The next image looks like, a superb in shape model who completely professional photo shoot. Next model is somebody massively overweight. And I'm not talking about just a little bit overweight, not model kind of weight. I'm talking about 40 kilos, 90 pounds overweight. And I think it says horrible things to young girls. And yes, there are social media pressures for an unattainable beauty, as we've been talking about for the last 10, 15, 20 years. And this just goes exactly in the wrong direction, exactly in the other direction, and promotes that it's completely fine for you to be 40 kilograms overweight and you should still be able to feel sexy about yourself. Now, absolutely, that's completely right. You should be able to walk into a brand, maybe you should be able to walk into a shop like a Jean Provocateur, no matter what your weight, no matter what your size, and maybe you should be able to find the right size for you. Maybe you should. In my world, I think if you've got yourself that heavy, if you've got yourself that out of weight, there's going to be limitations to your shopping trip. It should be fair to say that. Whether you're looking for running kit, whether you're looking for lingerie, it doesn't matter. There should be limitations if you've gotten yourself that out of shape. What a Jean Provocateur essentially saying is, don't worry how much you eat, don't worry how much little exercise that you do. We will always make something that you can get into and you can feel sexy about yourself. Now, there's always going to be people with a certain niche or a certain fetish that enjoy that. That's completely fine, no worries. Don't promote it on your Instagram site. Don't promote it on your website to say that it's absolutely fine for you to be morbidly obese, unhappy about yourself, and probably dead of a heart attack within the next 10 to 15 to 20 years. If you think that it's okay to promote that and it's okay to normalize it so that young girls who've got enough pressures going on, it's kind of like 15, 16, 18 years old, enough pressures in the world from social media, from websites, but now you're going the other way and saying it's completely okay if you want to be 40 kilograms, 50 kilograms overweight. It's the wrong message to be sending out there. I remember when Nike did this, and if we take a step back and, what companies who have done this right before in the past, and we're talking about ticking boxes here, we're talking about making sure that everybody is represented. And companies have done this right before. United Colors of Benetton used to do this really, really, really well. And you'd see their advertisement, it might have been the big picture in the shop, or it might have been the website, and you've got sort of different races represented. You've got all their models were in shape, all the models took care of themselves, male and female, and those pictures looked fantastic because it was like, this is a global world. This is a world where everybody's represented, nobody's left out, but everybody's in shape and everybody is a model on that picture. And I think that sends out the right message, that we are all the same, but in order to be a model, you've got to take care of your skin, you've got to take care of your weight, you've got to take care of your physique. That's completely normal to ask the absolute basics. Then when I saw Nike do this, probably 5, 6 years ago, definitely within COVID, when I saw Nike have runners in their running commercial that had clearly never ran before. They were 30, 40, 50 kilograms overweight, and they were in running clothes, in running shoes, and running. For me, if Nike thinks their customer base is that stupid, I think that's the offensive part. For me, that's the offensive part, that a brand that you think is the pinnacle of your sport thinks that the consumer is that stupid. Should those people be able to go into Nike and buy extra large and beyond in order for them to get into running? I think it's fantastic. If you're plus size and you're getting into running or walking for the first time because you want to do something about your situation, I think it's fantastic. I think it's the best thing ever. It's so much harder for somebody to get started like that than it is for somebody who is already in shape but they want to get in even better shape. It's so much more difficult for that person to get started or continue that habit rather than somebody who just wants to get faster or whatever. but to have them represented in a commercial and say that these are typically runners. And runners can be anything from Eliud Kipchoge all the way to a model who's 50 kilograms overweight, but we represent everybody. I think it's total bullshit. And to think that your customer is actually buying that, you're kidding yourself, and you're putting out completely the wrong message. To normalize that it's okay to be 40, 50 kilograms overweight is a disaster. And it's going exactly in the wrong way that it was 20 years ago, or 10 years ago even, and you're putting yourself in a dangerous place. If we think about the smoking companies, the alcohol companies, those companies should be held accountable for the disasters. And don't get me wrong, like, this is how I see it. If you really like alcohol and it's been sold to you in commercials, and you really like smoking, I cough at exactly the wrong time then. But if you really like smoking, and as my mum would say, when we were growing up in the 60s, and it was actually made to look cool that you would smoke, and smoking was actually cool, and therefore they got into a habit, and that nicotine and the rush, etc. I completely get that. Then once you found out it's really bad for you and it's actually killing you, if you don't do something about it at that point, then you're the fool. You can't blame the tobacco company. For me, this is my opinion. Like, you can't blame the tobacco company after you found out that it's cool. You can't say, well, you know that I did find out 20 years ago it was bad, but because I was so addicted to nicotine, I've kept on smoking, and therefore now I have lung cancer, and therefore it's your fault. Same with the fast food companies. If you're still going to blame McDonald's because you are massively overweight and morbidly obese, it's your problem. It's not McDonald's problem. It's not Burger King's problem. If you walk into McDonald's and order 50 hamburgers, and they sell you 50 hamburgers, whose fault is that? That's your own fault. You've got to take some responsibility for that. If you continually do that, and it takes you into massive high cholesterol, heart disease, etc., and your arteries are clogged up, that's your fault. And it's also you're responsible for doing something about it. If you do get into that position, if you do become massively overweight, you've got to get yourself in check. You've got to do something about it. You can't then start thinking, right, okay, Nike's got to be making clothes that now fit me because I want to do something about it. They should be making clothes, but not normalizing it on social media. And for me, I think that if you're 40, 50 kilograms overweight, I think if you go shopping for clothes, I do think you should be limited. Naturally, you should be limited, and you should do something about it, and do something about it, and do something about it, and keep doing something about it. Go to the gym, walk in, run in as slow as you possibly can, and do something about it, and then work at getting in the biggest size that your brand makes. Not normalizing it. It's just ridiculous to think that the customer is that stupid, and that we should be putting out that message to young girls and young guys as well, that it's completely fine to be that overweight, and you should feel included. I think it's total bullshit. And if you think the customer is that stupid, don't think you should be making clothes, and you should definitely be out of your marketing job. Because whoever, and this is the crazy thing, in order for Nike to be putting those people massively overweight in those commercials, putting them into running clothes and shoes, and getting them to run, and literally for the first time, and if they want to say that those people are naturally runners, they wouldn't be in that shape. If they'd been running for any longer than 2-3 months, they would not be that overweight. So if you think the customer base is that stupid, and you want to normalize that it's okay to be 30, 40, 50 kilograms overweight and run, I think you should be with the tobacco companies, with the fast food companies, in terms of you need to, there's a certain level of tax, a certain level of responsibility that you need to take in order for you to, well, one day you will need to pay for the fact that you normalized being 40 kilograms overweight. And you said it was okay. If you want to be 40 kilograms overweight, fantastic, no worries. We'll make clothes for you. I think it's completely the wrong way to look at it, completely the wrong way to try to solve the problem, and completely the wrong message to be sending out to young girls and guys that it's okay to be that, and we'll make clothing for you. Disaster, complete disaster.